Hello, this is Andre Simpson. Once again, I'm very excited to share part two of the video, what to do when you make a mistake with a partial payment and how to make a partial payment. In the last video, we made the partial payment and then we also made the mistake. In this video, I will show you how to fix that mistake. Now, there's several options. Let me discuss them with you first before I start doing the software portion of it. Number one, if the check has not been mailed out the door, you can one delete the check in the software, that the other check, reassign a check number to it, to the check that you have pending to print, so that way you won't waste a check. Or number two, you can either void the check. Voiding a check, well, if you void the check, then you're gonna have to keep the hard copy of that check and add it to your list of voided checks, and it helps you to do that in terms of internal control and keeping track of your checks. Now, if the check is already out the door, now let's say you've gone ahead and you've mailed these two payments out the door. What you will have to do is get on the phone and get in contact with that vendor and say, hey, listen, I've accidentally made an additional payment. Have you received the check as yet? Now, if the vendor has received the check, then you're going to ask the vendor to either give you a credit towards another invoice, or if the vendor has not received the check as yet, then you can void the check. Or if you, the other option is to simply ask the vendor to refund the money, because not all vendors you have recurring transactions with. So having said that, now let us dive into the software and how to get the payment taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my QuickBooks now. Here we are. Now, if you remember the last time, Jeff Janitorial had a balance of $500, and we made two payments in increments of $50. One in error and then one that was actually posted to the correct window. So look at the screen here carefully. So on the screen, what you will see is here the check number 451. I'm going to drill down to that so you can see it. This is the check number. And you'll also see the bill payment check, the partial payment. Now, if you notice here, it says to print. So it's in the system as a check that is with print, it's not printed as yet. So in this situation, now in the memo, I've put small payment 2 so we could differentiate between the two checks. So what you could do, just to save time, if it were me, lots of ways you could do it, but I find the shortest way to handle a situation like this is to simply do this. One, record the check number. It's check number 4501. Once you've done that, then you want to go ahead now and simply, now this method is if the check has not gone out the door as yet. Keep that in mind. You want to go ahead and simply delete this. Once that's deleted, then you go back to the bill payment check. You're going to click on the bill payment check and you're going to uncheck print later. Then you're going to assign the check number to this transaction, and that's 4501. Then you're going to save and close this. And that's how it's done. Now, that's one way of doing it. Now, let us say, for instance, that the check had already gone out the door. If the check has already made its way out the door, you would not delete that check. You'd actually call your vendor and find out if they have received the check. If they've not received the check, you let them know you made an additional payment, and you're going to put a stop payment on that check. You call your bank, put a stop payment on the check, or if you have good terms with the vendor and it's a reoccurring transactions and your cash flow isn't tight, you can simply ask the vendor to post it to another invoice that you have with that vendor if you have reoccurring transactions. Now, in some cases, if it's a one-time transaction where you probably won't be doing business with that vendor on an ongoing basis, you would need to call your bank and void that check, or ask the vendor for a refund if they've already cashed the check. So it's always good before you pay any bill to reconcile the amount and refer back to the sequence of the bill numbers and your check numbers to make sure that everything adds up and you're not overpaying your vendors. And my next video, I will tackle the basic accounting equation. I'm very excited about that to share it with you. My name is Andre Simpson, and thanks again for allowing me to share this with you. Thanks for your time.